I grew up in Dayton, Ohio. How many have heard of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base? Big air base. I actually knew the scientist that was running the study. He lived 2 houses up from me. And it was the Mars manned space mission. And they're doing a lot of things to figure out how can we put men in space and how can they travel to Mars. There's going to be 6 months, 12 months of disorientation. So one of the tests that they ran is they put goggles on the astronauts. And if you know how you see things, are you aware that I'm obviously feet on the floor, head up here? As my image hits your cornea, it refracts, and literally what you're seeing on the back of your retina is me upside down. And your brain translates that into me right side up. Did you know that? Yes. So the next time you think you're looking at reality correctly, you're already screwed because you're looking at it upside down. But the good news is you figured it out. So what they tried to do to disorient these astronauts is they put a double lens in that refracted the lens right side up, which means I'm right side up, which means what the astronauts saw was the world upside down. So you can imagine trying to eat a meal where the plate's up here, the food's there, and you're trying to put it in your mouth. And they were in these goggles for months at a time. 2 unintended consequences that blew everybody's mind came out of this. Here's my pen. Number 1, the earliest was 14, the average was 21, the longest was 30 days. The astronauts would wake up one morning, image flipped, brain accommodated. Day 17, day 20. They couldn't run this experiment more than 30 days because the brain would flip it back right and see the world correctly. And they didn't know that that was going to happen. And they didn't know that it... Do you think that's slow or long, by the way?
I think it's awesome.
Some think it's awesome. Some think it's awesome. Some people are like, well, why can't we do it faster than that? Blah, blah, blah. But if you ever want to look at the history of how long it takes to change a habit, have you ever heard you can change a habit in 14 days? And other people say you can change a habit in 21 days. And other people say you can change a habit in 30 days. This is the groundbreaking base work in the 70s that created this data. Now, the interesting thing is, the second fascinating thing is, let's say I'm a person who's going to flip it day 18. Now, on day 14, I have a family emergency. I got to drop out of the astronaut program. My wife's in the hospital. She's really sick. I got to go take care of her for half a day. So I take my goggles off. I get a little bit. It takes me a few minutes to get used to it. But I'm right back in my life. I go take care of the hospital duty, come back into the program, and I put the goggles back on. Do you believe if I was day 18, that therefore my flip date is now day 18 plus 6 hours because I was out? Or do you believe that it starts over at day 0? And because I asked the question, a lot of people say 0. The reality is, when you think about it, it should be 18 plus 6 hours. But it's not. It starts over. And they don't know why that is either. They tried to figure that out, and they can't figure that out. You can be 15 minutes from your flip point, you go back to 0. You can be 15 minutes from your flip point, and you take the goggles off for 3 minutes. That is why you go, I've been going to the gym for 2.5 weeks, and I missed one time, and like, all of a sudden I don't feel like going anymore. What happened? And you'll record there's something wrong with you. Something bad about you. You don't have the willpower, the discipline to have that body, have that routine, make that change. No, you're fighting brain chemistry. Now, the good news is, if you really want to be a badass in this technology, is if you go 14 days was my example, and started over, and went 14 more days and started over, and went 14 more days and started over, guess what life you're living? The life that you want. It's just hard. You've got to get through the habit piece of this from a brain chemistry, from a neural pattern perspective. And when you have that flip, you wake up one morning and going to the gym is easy, or going in early for your job is easy, or having this new pattern with your significant other becomes easy. But you've got to get through whatever period it takes to flip the habit. And it promise you will never be, unless you're the first human on the planet, astronauts could not break anything longer than 30 days. Anything longer than 30 days, your brain takes care of it.